But I'll go ahead and get started. If you didn't hear before, my name is Nick Coyan. I am a fifth grade teacher in the Turner School District. It's in Kansas City. I've been teaching there for about 3 years. This is my fourth year overall. I started using Classkick when I got to Turner. It was something my instructional coach kind of pointed out to me. We were using digital badges as just an option for us to be able to like go and learn new PDs when we started. And that was one of the things that I kind of looked at. And then there was like a competition where but at the end of the semester, whichever like three teachers had the most badges, then they could get like a pro membership to something or go to a conference. And so I was one of the three people. And so I got to get the pro account for Classkick. They've actually added all of those pro features to their normal accounts. The only thing that's different is that a non-pro account can only have 20 assignments at a time. But I know with all of the COVID-19 stuff, they said that if your school is one of the schools affected, that you could have Classkick Pro free for the rest of the year. Yeah, I'm actually going to Emporia. I went there for my undergrad. Now I'm going there for grad school. So Emporia State all the time.
I'm a proud fourth generation teacher from teacher.
All right. I'm gonna try and see how this works. This is actually my first time using Zoom. We use Microsoft Teams with all of our distance learning. So I'm hoping this will work. And it's saying it's not going to be able to record until later. All right. So this is the Classkick PD assignment. This is what the teacher view kind of looks like when you go in to edit slides. If I wanted to see who was on it, I can just go over here to view work. And if you put in the class code on classkick.com, so I don't know if it's going to be weird since I'm already signed in, but we'll see. So if I go to Classkick, I would log in as a student, and then I would just put in that code. So I'd put in CU5 W49, and then just click, or then you just put in your name and click go. And then it'll look like this on your end. So one of the things that I really like about Classkick is it's just a live view of where everybody's at. So on my screen, I can see where is everybody at, where are they starting. And it will like even show me like, have they opened the slide? I know like, especially with all of our continuous learning and distance learning right now, I can go, and that's my main thing I'm assigning students work in, and I can go in and be like, well, you opened the slide. I saw you had opened it, but I don't see any work for you yet. So that's really helpful. They've got a quick like welcome to Classkick video on the second slide. I put that video in my Flipgrid, so if you want to check that out, it's just on my Flipgrid. The third slide kind of shows you there's different colors. When they originally made this, I think was when it was just the basic account. So writing your name in green, when you have just when their old basic account was like 3 or 4 colors. Now you've got all the different colors. So if you want to write it in green, that's fine. If you don't, that's okay too. It's also got a little button where you could just click play and the instructions are in audio, because that's another option that you have. The fourth slide goes in and says you can use the audio tool for yourself. So you could just record the following information if you wanted to. Um, your name, where you're from, what you love most about school. So then like I could go on to Melissa's, and like I see that she's done this slide. One of my favorite things and one of my kids' favorite things is just the stickers. So I can just do like a gold star sticker and say nice work. And that'll show them really quickly that they got it. Another thing that I like, as we get to like the fifth slide, is like choosing a specific place in the world that you want to travel to. So looking at that, I might look and see where they're going. Like I made one earlier and I just put Little Sebastian because I've just been watching Parks and Rec all of um, this quarantine. So another thing that I like is, let me see it. There it is over here. Is you can type in a message to them. So then you can type and put stuff onto their screen. But if you don't want to clutter up their screen, you could just say, like, you can just respond on here. So like with Brittany's, I could type in like, I've always wanted to go to New Zealand. And so then that just sends the chat to her. You'll notice too, it says click the hand raise button at the top right. So if they go over here and they click it, there's 2 options. So if they are finished, they can click the green check mark or the green hand and it'll say please check. If they are stuck on a problem, they can click the yellow hand and it will say please help. And so when you see that, it automatically goes to your like top of your teacher page. So I could see, okay, Tara's finished and she wants to go in the ocean. And so I can just quickly go over here. One thing, I teach 5th grade. So one thing I like to use is just my own stuff. So I could just go and I could put this on there for her. And then so she's got that. She sees that I saw it and she knows that she can move on. The 6th slide is kind of showing some more tools they have. One tool they added that is newer is manipulatives. So you can have a picture and say, I want kids to just be able to take this and move this for them. So this is just a money problem. So then they're able to move the dimes themselves. If you are following along, you're probably noticing that it's moving on yours too, because when you're on the teacher screen and you're clicking edit assignment, it edits everybody's. So I always try to be mindful of that when I'm doing things. It's nice if I want to just have like, there's sometimes where I'll say, hey, we're going to do the first slide as a class. I'm going to be following along with you up on my board. And then I want you to do the second slide on your own. But one thing that's really nice is the fill in the blank. So if they click the mouse clicky button, the select mode, they can click that and type in their answer. And as long as they put in 63, it's going to count the points for them. So it'll automatically grade it for you. I use that most of the time, especially if I've got a sub. If I've got a sub, it's always fill in the blank stuff. I've got the answers put in there for them. So then they're not going up to the sub saying, I didn't get the answer. Or is this right? Is this right? They can automatically just see, oh, I didn't get it. I've got to try it again. And they can keep moving. You could just use it simply for daily oral language practice. I use it for my mentor sentences. When we do the quiz at the end of the week for my mentor sentence, I'll put just the screenshot of whatever that PDF was, and that's what I use. So then the 8th slide is just a fill in the blank for your own. So anything you guys want to put in. So your thoughts on how it feels like to be a student using this. And then as you do this, another new thing I like that they've started to use is you can select which specific slide you want to look at. So if I just want to look at slide 8 just to see what people are saying, then I can quickly go and I can look at that. When I'm looking at that and specific things, another thing they added was this thing called the sticker wand. So I could go in, look at it, I can see, okay, cool, they answered it. And I can just quickly go and give stickers to everybody that has done it so far. If I needed to assign point values, I can give them their points. The only thing about this is making sure if you want to see it just with that small screen, making sure what you put in there is small enough. I know half the time I'll put stuff in and I can see like the top part of it, but I still have to click on everybody's to see, did you answer all of the problems on it? So I still have to go through for a few times and look at these things. The next few slides just give you a preview of what it's like to use Classkick as a teacher. So you get to see your whole class live. That's one of my favorite things about it, especially when we were in class, just being able to see who's working, who do I need to go over and say, hey, I don't see anything for you right now, or just put on the chat. That works for some of them. If I just catch them on the chat and I say, I don't see anything right now, then I see them start to work again. So it's pretty easy to get them started. You can upload your existing assignments. There's an option where you can upload like PDF files. I've always just snipped what I wanted from my PDFs into it. I had one of my co-teachers though today asked me if it was possible to do the PDFs, and I said, yeah, I was just looking at it yesterday, and she said she put them in there and it was super fast and really clear pictures. And she said that it looked really nice and it went a lot faster than her snipping it. So that might be something that I try. just as we keep going. You can assign it to a specific roster. So when you create an assignment, you always have to have a roster assigned to it. If you don't, it's in your library, but they can't see anything. So when you have students log in, there's always a code that they can add to it. If they have a pro account, then if they're already on that roster for you, you don't have to give them a code every time. It will just drop directly into their iPad or computer, whatever they're using. It will just drop directly into it. They'll see their assignment. It'll have a green dot by it if it's new for them, so they can see, okay, that's the new one. It's got the green dot, and then they're able to quickly put it on. If for some reason it's not letting you, yesterday for some reason it wasn't letting me. I was making a new roster for one of my guided reading groups, and it wasn't letting me add them, so I just sent them the code today, and I said, hey, when you get there, you're going to need to click the plus button, and you're going to need to put in this code. They were all able to just put in the code and get started right away, so that was nice. So you give them the class code, they put in their name, and they can get started. If you're using the basic account for the first time, the one drawback from that I noticed when I had it was if they spell their name even a little bit differently, it'll create a second assignment for them. So they can log on multiple times with the same assignment if they put in their name the same way. If they don't put in their name the same way, then it's going to look like all of their work disappeared to them. To you, they're just going to have two different assignments that you've got to look at. So you can watch them work, you can give them feedback, you can leave them a sticker, you can write on the actual slide, you can leave a voice recording. I haven't done that, but that seems like it could be a cool idea. Or you can use that chat feature, which might work better for older kids than younger kids. And then the last slide is just another slide for you guys to fill out. Just writing your thoughts and clicking the links. This has been really nice, especially with the distance learning of just being able to send stuff out and it just being in the same place for all of them at the same time. I can say, your assignment is this today, look for this title. I want to see this slide complete. When we get done with this, I'll quickly show you just kind of what some of my other slides look like, or what some of my other assignments look like. You can have multiple rosters on this. Like I had made a fake one and just named it PD. And then I have our EdCamp one that we're doing right now. So it doesn't really matter which one you choose, or it doesn't matter how many groups you have to it. For the students, it's just going to look like an extra folder to them. So they would just have two different folders, and their groups are different folders. So they can have multiple rosters. With each of my kids, they've got our like whole class roster that they're a part of. but they also have their guided reading group that they're a part of. And I know like the librarian used it, so they had a library folder that they were a part of. So multiple people can use it, and they're able to just have all that stuff in the same place. They don't have to have multiple apps open or multiple like tabs of Classkick. They can just have it all in one spot for them. So I'm just going to go to slide 16. When I first started using it, I definitely used it for my math groups first. We differentiated that way, and we were just able to say, if you're in math group 2, here's your code. If you're in math group 1, here's your code. And they were able to quickly just go to it. Their problems were differentiated for each group, and they were able to just get started and work at their own pace. And they had specific assignments per day. So, like one of the assignments I did this week, I played an April Fool's joke on them, and it was just read all the directions before you start. So I had them read all the directions, and so it was just silly things like sign your name under this. After the instructions, write this. I had like put your favorite singer on slide 2, make a silly face and put that also on slide 2. And then it was like multiply all of these or add all of these. And I thought for sure that one of my kids was going to catch on and not do it and actually read all the directions first. But every one of my kids started putting these on. And like the last one was send me a chat on Teams, which is what we're using for distance learning, saying, I'm done, please check, just so I could see it and I didn't have to be on here all day long. But the last one said, go to the bottom of the slide. On the bottom, I put it small because I didn't want them to just scroll and see it at the very beginning. And it said, just do steps 2 and 23. And I would show you all of them, but they've got their first and last names, but they all had like silly pictures. I had one kid who figured it out at the very end, deleted all of her stuff that she had put on there, and then said, I figured out your trick. And I was like, yeah, it's April Fool's Day. And then she was like, we did all that work for nothing. So that was one thing. Like I said, I use it a lot for guided reading groups. So I'm showing you this one just because it is one that's pretty complete. We always would like start with a vocab study. And so we would be at the back table and I'd give them all dictionaries and I'd say, okay, here's the words I want you to be finding. You look up this word, you look up this word. And then we'd work as a whole group to get the definitions found. And then I'd have them do the fill in the blank on their own. Then I also had just like multiple choice questions. So it gets to like, this is a pretty big assignment. It's a pretty big chunk of things, but you're also able to quickly like look and see how they did, and you can export those grades or export those answers. I just quickly would look at it and say, okay, it was worth this many points and they got this out of this, and it was a quick grade to put in my grade book for what they were doing. I let them do this self-paced most of the time. If it's like with my assignment I put in today, I said, here's this math assignment. I was like, you guys have all day to work on this. I just want to see it complete by the end of the day. When you have it finished, raise your hand. For these two, it was just very specific answers. With my fifth graders, I know there's multiple ways they're going to put in $4. It might just be 4, it might be $4, it might be $4 because I've had a few of my kids do that. I just wrote out $4. So you can set multiple fill in the blank options for each thing and say, if they write any of those, give them the point. I still had one student write in, he would give them $4. And I said, I just sent them a quick chat and I said, hey, if you just put in $4, it would count that, and then put your explanation to the side. I used it for guided reading of just pick one of the following. Using a book of your choice, just choose one of these options, upload a picture of whatever you read, highlight something you found interesting, tell me about it. So I like it just for the number of options that you're able to do with it. They're always adding features. One thing that I like that I know for my friends that teach primary, they really like is you can, and I'm going to do it with this one because they've already seen it. You can hide assignments from them. So when you hide it, it will disappear off of their dashboard. So if I don't hide assignments, then everything we've done is always there. So if I hide it, then they're not going to see it again. If it's something you really liked or you really wanted, like with my mentor sentence quizzes, I just want to see what they knew the first time. I don't want them to go back multiple times to fix it. So once they finish, I can click lock, and then they're not able to go back and edit the slides anymore. And I can just see their work for what it is at that point. So I know I've used the lock feature if I'm just like explaining the assignment for the first time, because I have kids that'll want to move ahead of me as I'm talking and just try to get the lesson done as quick as they can. So I'll lock the assignment while I explain it, and then I'll unlock it to let them start moving on. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I'm gonna open it up to just like your guys' questions, if you have them. If you don't, I mean, I've used it for every subject. I've used it for math. I've used it for ELA. We do Project Lead the Way at my district, so I've used it for just their Project Lead the Way activities. But I use it for a lot of things, and they seem to enjoy it. They like the different GIFs that I give. They like that it's just a lot of instant feedback. But yeah.
So Nick, I have a quick question. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to visualize this as much as I can. So if I put an assignment on there, do I have to be on the computer and watching them do it at that time, or can I just drop in while they're completing assignment? Is it timed, or is it in real time that you're doing all of this?
No, so I can drop in whenever. So you can add the assignment, put in the roster, and then just let them do it at their own pace.
Okay.
And then just drop in. Like, I know there's been times when I've had a sub, and if I am at my house, one of my biggest problems still is if I have a sub, I'm very concerned about, are they actually doing what I told them to do? So I can drop in, see that they're on their math assignment, and go, and I can give them quick feedback, or I can say, hey, I see you're not doing anything. You're drawing pictures on the bottom of this slide. You need to get to work.
Yeah, because what I was thinking of is in my district with the continuous learning, then I could post a problem or a math sheet like you just had,
Right.
and that way I could see that it's actually getting done at that time.
Yeah.
So it's just a different way to do it than what because we're not doing synchronized or synchronization of learning in elementary. We're only doing either a video or whatever, and this would be a different way to do it. Is that are most of these things accessible in the free program?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
With the free program, the only thing they changed was that you can only have 20 assignments at a time.
Oh,
So I know that there's been people who have just started deleting assignments after they finish them.
okay.
There's no like limits to the number of slides. One of my teammates, the way she's doing her continuous learning is she's just making the assignment be week of, and then whatever the week is, and just like adding slides as she goes for what they're supposed to do.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, if there's no more questions, I am going to stop this. And if you guys have any more questions, just go onto the Flipgrid. I'll try to answer them as fast as I can. I hope you guys are all doing well and have a good rest of your day. All right. Bye.